Hi there, hope you're having a pleasant day wherever you may be. Today I find myself at what I can really only reasonably describe as the eighth wonder of the world. That's right, I'm at Carhenge near Alliance, Nebraska. Carhenge is located just a few miles north of the city of Alliance, which is in western Nebraska. So what exactly is Carhenge? Well, if you can't already tell, it is a replica of Stonehenge in England made out of cars. Now, this was conceived by a guy named Jim Reinders. Apparently, in 1982, his father passed away, and this was his father's farm. At the memorial, he discussed it with some family members that the perfect tribute would be a replica of Stonehenge. So they all agreed that in 5 years they would get together and build it. In 1987, that's what they did, and they spent 6 days in the month of June of 1987 putting this all together. And also, by completing the task in 6 days, he boasted that they completed the task 9,999 and 51 weeks quicker than the original Stonehenge. And in sort of keeping with the tradition of the original, after they completed it, they decided to dedicate it on the summer solstice of 1987. All in all, it is said that there's 39 cars used to make this. It's approximately 96 feet across, and the cars are submerged upwards of 5 feet into the ground. The ones that are used for arches, you can see that they were welded together, and in some cases even needed some support beams. And the cars were painted gray to kind of give it that Stonehenge stone look to it. And in case you were curious where the windows used to be or any sort of glass, they put the sheets of metal and just sort of bolted them shut. And from the looks of it, the pigeons sure like Carhenge as well. In addition to Carhenge proper, this entire field has other installations to look at, and it's referred to as a car art reserve. You can walk around, there's a little trail that goes to each and every one of them, and there's one that's like a salmon, there's one that looks like a dinosaur, there's some that are just kind of cars kind of buried. One is called the Ford Seasons, and it's supposed to represent the seasons of Nebraska, where there's like the growing, the harvest, and then just like cold the rest of the year. There's a station wagon that's kind of shaped to look like a covered wagon to kind of honor the Oregon Trail. It's art, so go with it. Now, all the cars used here at Carhenge are American made. There are 3 that are not, and they are supposedly buried right here. There's a little wording on the side of this that suggests that the foreign cars kind of stepped in when Detroit was in a downturn, but now Detroit is back, so their service is no longer needed, according to the sign at least. As far as visiting here, like I said, it is just a few miles north of the city of Alliance, Nebraska, which in and of itself is kind of in the middle of nowhere, but it seems to be a fully functioning town. There's a few chains there that if you need anything. When you arrive, there is a small parking lot that has some picnic tables and such, and there is also a little store that if you'd like to get a quick souvenir or use the restroom or buy a drink, that's available. It is free to come here and walk around and enjoy. Now, it goes without saying that this is very similar to Cadillac Ranch off of Route 66 in Texas. And if you want something similar and you happen to be in Nebraska, Carhenge near Alliance, really cool spot. Highly recommend it. The difference being is that at Cadillac Ranch, it's kind of encouraged, I guess, to tag them and spray paint them and put your own little designs and things like that. Here they ask that you don't do that. They're painted gray in the Stonehenge replica, and that's to kind of mimic it. And then all the art installations they're the way they're meant to be. So don't go tagging them, don't go spray painting them. There is one car here off on the side that they say yes, that's the spray paint car that you can put your signature on. They did specifically ask that your signature, but people put obviously other things on there as well. So that's the one spot. Now, for those of you that have been playing along at home for a long time, this was one of the stops I made on my road to Scottsbluff trip, which I threw a dart at a map and it landed in Scottsbluff. That took me to nearby Scottsbluff National Monument, which I just made a video of if you'd like to take a look at that, you can go right ahead, but let's get back to this one. Now, that trip was pre-Anaya on the Road video days, and just like Scottsbluff, I wanted to come back and do a video on it because it was such an interesting place. So here I am. Took me 7 years to get back here, but yes, this is Carhenge. Now, as another little aside, back in 2017 during the Great American Solar Eclipse, the path of the eclipse actually went right over Alliance. So Carhenge was actually very early on in my process of figuring out where to see it on my radar. Now I'm kind of glad I didn't, because it turns out thousands and thousands of people came here, and I ended up being in a great spot over in Idaho. So yeah, solar eclipse here. Overall, this is one of those kitschy Americana, Clark Griswold roadside attractions that makes a road trip just that much more memorable. It's kind of stupid but awesome at the same time. Yes, this is out of the way for pretty much anybody that's in the area, but in my opinion, because I like stuff like this, it's worth a stop. It's just awesome. Well, that does it for this one. Thanks for joining me on this trip to Carhenge. I hope you found it interesting, hope you found it informative, and I really hope it encourages you to come check this out. With that said, I guess I'll see you on the next one. Heathcliff, Heathcliff, da-da-da.